welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video, we are going to be going over different budgeting methods to help you budget your money. These ideas are intended for people that are starting to budget their money and are looking for ideas as to which one is best for them. If you're not new to budgeting, this can still be helpful as it can give you ideas, different budgeting methods that might be more suitable for you. So to start off, you're gonna wanna decide between if you're going to budget by paycheck, monthly, or both. Budgeting by paycheck is gonna be a little more time consuming as you're going to have to create more budgets more often, but you're also going to have a leg up because you're going to be paying closer attention to your budget, so you're going to be able to see when those bills are coming out. And depending on how often you get paid, that it's also more likely that you will be able to have leftover money at the end of the paycheck to do whatever your goal is. Budgeting monthly is still very common and works for a lot of people. The only thing with that is you are going to have to check in more often than just the once monthly to see how you're doing, if you're on track, if you need to make adjustments, if you got paid more, then where is that extra money going to be going? Or if you got paid less, what are you going to be cutting, and all of that fun stuff. One of the things that is pretty similar to the paycheck budget that me and my husband used to do was we used to budget solely by paycheck, but every paycheck we paid half of whatever the bill's total was. That, let's say our mortgage, we put half of our mortgage into a savings account, and then the other paycheck we put the other half of the mortgage into a savings account, and then we paid it all at once. And that worked for all bills except for a couple bills that you couldn't, or that you could either pay bi-weekly, or a couple of bills that like they came out all at once, and all of that you need to make sure that you had the money in the account prior to it coming out. So with that, we had to be a little more aware of having extra money in our account just in case something did get hit. But with this idea, this actually is a great idea for people that are busy or looking for more hands-off approach, that just every single paycheck, half of your paycheck or half of each bill total goes to whatever bill. We used a credit card, but we moved away from that because the bills that we had was actually hurting our credit score because it was using too much of our credit limit. But we could have definitely used like a debit card or whatever. It would have just had to be a separate account that nothing was going to be getting taken out of. All right, now let's get into different methods of budgeting your money. First method is the zero-based budget. This budget is made pretty popular by Dave Ramsey. Basically, the concept of this is every single dollar that you make has a home, that it is going to do a job. You are going to make that dollar do something, whether it is you're spending it, you're saving it, or you're investing it. With this, if you get paid more than what you were expecting, then you would have to come up with where that extra dollar or extra dollars that you made is going. And there is not a buffer for this account. You aren't gonna have like leftover money in your bank account because, like I said, every dollar has a home. With this, Dave Ramsey has also mentioned, I believe, that that doesn't mean your bank account at the end of the month or at the end of whenever is zero. You're gonna have a little bit of money in that bank account. You're just not gonna need that little bit of money because you're not gonna be spending it because it's not budgeted. It's just so that way if your bills come out at a different time, or if you go over budget one month and you weren't obviously expecting that, but there is still money there, so that way you're not going back into debt. The next method is going to be the envelope system, and this system is going to be very similar, actually the exact same as the $0 or zero-based budget, but it is going to have one added step. And also with this, I believe Dave Ramsey has mentioned or talked about this one, but this is just going to basically be every single category in your budget is going to have a separate envelope, and everything is going to be physical. Everything is going to be cash. Now, if you don't want to use the cash aspect of it, you still can use like your debit card and all of that. And he has the Every Dollar Budget app that you can use that will put everything into different categories. But with this, the actual reason for the cash is that cash psychologically is more difficult to give up because you're physically giving money away as opposed to just swiping a card and then receiving the card back. That makes you less likely to spend money and so therefore help you save more money. Obviously, if your goal isn't necessarily to save money, I'm sure your goal is still not to spend money. I'm sure nobody has to be told, go spend money. A big thing between these two methods is that it's actually very difficult to go into debt because every dollar you have has a home and you're not spending anything that you don't have. The next method is the pay yourself first method, and this method is very similar to the zero-based budget method, or it could be, but there's a little bit of a difference. First of all, you don't need to plan for every literal dollar that you make. That you can use buffers, you can round your numbers, all of that fun stuff, but you are going to also make sure that you are paying yourself first, prioritizing you and your goals. So that doesn't mean that you're not going to be paying your bills. It just means that whatever you're wanting to work on, that is where you're gonna make sure you put money towards that first. The idea is instead of paying your bills first, you are going to pay yourself first. And then after you pay yourself and then pay your bills, then you can spend whatever is left. This is opposed to the whole pay your bills, spend whatever you want, and whatever is left you save. The idea is that way you focus more on savings, debt payoff, and investments as opposed to your priorities are your bills or just going out to lunch or whatever, spending money on shopping, all of the fun entertainment things, and that you're prioritizing your goals. I guess in a way what you could classify this as is that your goals are a bill. So you have to pay whatever your goal is. Now you're gonna decide what you pay yourself first, after what you make minus your actual expenses, not what you want to spend, your expenses. And then that's when you would budget how much you're paying yourself and then how much you're spending on whatever else, and then that should be zero. And lastly, but most different from the rest, is the 50-30-20 budget method. The idea of this method is to split all of your bills into percentages. So 50% of your budget is going to be needs or necessities, 30% is going to be wants, and 20% is going to be savings or investing or debt payoff. The needs would include things like housing, utilities, transportation, groceries. The 30% would be entertainment, shopping, eating out, and the 20%, like I mentioned, goes to debt payoff, long-term or short-term savings or investing. Now, what do you do if your housing alone is more than 50% of your income? Well, you are going to then have to sacrifice whether you are going to lower the percentage of your wants or lower your percentage of your savings. Basically, it depends on where you are in your life and what your goals are. Now, if you don't want to do that, you're either going to have to find somewhere cheaper to live or you're going to have to make more money, which both of those are a lot easier said than done. One interesting thing about this method is that even if you aren't using this method to budget with, it is kind of interesting to look at what your budget is and how it kind of lines up to all of these things, especially considering they say that your housing should only be 30% of your income, or I think it's your gross income. That where's the other 20% going, and is it actually going to needs, or are your needs going way higher than 50%, or is your wants at 50%? So there are 4 of the more popular budgeting methods and how to use them. I hope this helped to give you an idea of which one you should be using to help you in your situation. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!